Hi everyone. So now my name is Sagar Kakkala and now we are for session DevOps session day 10 and we will be discussing about build artifacts here. And before that, because here in Sagar Kakkala's world, content is diversified into like travel, finance, podcasts, and bit of other stuff. I'll just share screen to show like how things are segregated here. So you just had to remember my name, Sagar Kakkala. And then you'll have my website, my LinkedIn, and my YouTube. In YouTube, everything is separated by playlists. Here, because it's day 10, I would recommend everyone
Welcome.
to go in a line till day 10. And here in the website, like everything is separated by contents of the blog, like everything in a consecutive order. Now in this session, like we'll discuss about build artifacts. Like before in the session, like we had that git commit tags and Docker to git commit tags. Now we are going for a build artifacts. And why are these build artifacts important? Let's say artifacts is nothing but a storage, and these build artifacts are important like during a disaster recovery. Let's say our entire setup is vanished. Let's say this entire setup is vanished and nothing is there. Like in AWS, everything is vanished, but like we had Artifactory store here. Artifactory, I'm storing it inside AWS S3 bucket. Generally, these would be stored inside JFrog or Nexus, which are actually having as Artifactory stores we call. But here we are storing it in AWS S3 bucket. And like what are build artifacts? Like for suppose as simple as that. Like what we are doing in the day one we discussed, whenever developer commits the code, like we will package the code, and there would be files formed called like .var or .jvar. This were Java, but here like because we are having a React application, we would be having a build folder. I think there is an explanation I gave for 1 second. Yes, here. Maybe 1 second. Yes, here what happens is like whenever the code is packaged npm run build, because it's a React project, like we will have build folder, and inside that index.html is formed, like which is our application. Same way, this is for React project. If it's for Java, we would be saving target folders. Since we have having React project, like we'll discuss on this build folder and how it acts as a disaster recovery. So let's assume our incomplete setup is gone, like AWS account is deleted or terminated. But here assume like instead of S3 bucket, we had saved our build files inside a Nexus repository. And once the Nexus repo setup is gone, and let's say our gold site e-commerce, like it is something, what do you call? A very demanding now, like a very demanding website. Let's say Tanishq or something, maybe not our website, maybe Amazon or something like Amazon, the e-commerce site. Even if it is stopped for an hour, it'll actually cause a lot of chaos, like a lot of business loss, and we don't want that to happen. And if Amazon lost its complete setup, we can't like sit there and like do the complete setup. It might take hours of time to rebuild the existing setup, but we want our business to be continued. So for that, what we'll do as a disaster recovery, like one part is like to have the build files. It's like you have already the code, like to package the code itself, it will take a lot of time. Maybe here it's a simple React application. It just takes for us like 6 minutes. But in reality, like if the application is larger, it might take 1 hour to 40 minutes to just get this code to be like packaged into build. But what if you have already the build ready? Let's say in the Nexus repo, you have already this build ready, Nexus or JFrog, so that like you could just turn on one EC2 instance, like install like Docker or like install just Nginx on it because this has like build files, and you could run this like Nginx. Oh, sorry, Nginx is not there. Maybe you could run this build files inside Nginx, just like we did it on the day one. and our business would be continuing. Meanwhile, we would go on building up the setup. So as simple as that, it's just that like your business won't be in loss when you have the build files ready, more like the packaged code ready. So everyone is clear on this part, right? What we are trying to do. Mm, okay, no issue, yes. Fine. Now I'm actually going for day 10 repo now. And here I would recommend to watch day 1 again, like before watching like day 10, because there is something from day 1 we had picked up. It's just that we want to have the build folder here. So this is the one, like we are saving inside S3 bucket. And here install React scripts is the one like which has CRA application, like create React application, which I forgot to explain in the day 1. So create React application, it comes with the package of like npm run test, run everything. Only when npm run build is there, that's when the build folder is formed. And when the build folder is formed, we are going to save this build folder inside S3 bucket, more like Artifactory. For this, I had created an S3 bucket, build Artifactory demo. This is the one. Mm, mm, Build Artifactory. Okay, this is the one which does not have anything right now. So, hmm, where is this? Yes. Yes. So once this is done, like the rest follows as usual. It's just a single step that we are doing. Like we are saving it inside our date format. Let's say DDMMYY. So what's the date today? 16th March, right? So it will be saved as 16/03/2025. So that like whenever, let's say also, if something happens and like now version 4 is running. Version 4 is released on, let's say version 4 is released on 16th March, let's say today, and there were a lot of complaints on this version, and I'm getting huge losses, and I want to go at version 3, and version 3 is released on some 11th March, just for an example. So, and if I'm having some Docker image or something that's actually creating an issue on creating a rollbacks or something, as simple as that, same way, I'm going to like use this. I'm going to like build a Docker image based on this build folder. I can actually build a Docker image, or I can actually like deploy this build folder directly into the Nginx that we did in day 1. So, and we are going to keep the application up so that our business is not down. So this is the one, because like now this AWS, like in the last session, we actually have already configured AWS CLI, so no worries on this. And also here, like one more thing that I changed here is Docker image. Yes, Docker image, because in the multi-stage, like we were using one image to form the build folder and then get that build folder into our Docker image and deleting that previous image. Maybe I could actually show. mm, Anyone joined or what happened? Okay, I don't know why I got notification. Ah, yes, fine. Not in day 10. Let's go for day 9. I can actually show the difference. So here in multi-stage, we are using one folder inbuilt, which I explained in Docker session day 2. So we are using one image as multi-stage and getting that build folder to here. But since in day 10 we already have a build folder because we want to save that in artifacts, instead of like creating this multi-stage, we could use the same build folder. So that is what I did in day 10. Like no need to create a separate uh, image because we are already forming build. So we could actually take that same build and actually build. So that's what happened here in day 10 Docker file. So I just removed multi-stage because I copied directly build folder which forms at that part and here. And here one more thing that we had to do inside build server is there is npm install script, but we need to run like nodejs package had to be installed here for it. Only that thing is new that we had to do manually, and rest all were set up in the previous session. Yes, it's just that's this nodejs and this npm. Only these two things we would be installing. Okay, just mm, okay. Either it's stuck or something. I'm not getting. Okay, fine. Let me refresh. Too many things. Hmm. Okay, let's see if it is installed or not. Not deploy server, build server. Okay, it's installed. And next is install. What's the command? It's better. I'll check. Apt install npm. So any queries on like why we need build artifacts? It's not on the project perspective, but as we said, like we are going building this like how organizations are building. So this is an important step to have build artifacts ready in case of what do you call unexpected scenarios. But here mostly we were saving it inside the S3 bucket itself, like AWS. You could actually most organizations use Nexus or JFrog. Okay, I don't know, something happened. Unable to fetch. I don't know, something happened, I guess. Let's see. Hmm. This is something unexpected. I didn't expect this. NPM, without NPM, we can't. Okay. Okay, I think it's installing now. You just had to refresh repositories. So any queries till now on this build artifacts, like why it's being done? One second, I will check. Okay. And as I said, like this is also just one-time manual step that we are doing. So that is why I did not involve Jenkins because there are some manual steps that needs to be done. Once these are configured, it's just like coming up. I mean, like in the next sessions, we'll just use Jenkins everywhere. Hmm, okay, okay. NPM is done. Everything is done. I'm just removing old repository. Okay, sorry, my bad. Where's the Day10? Let's not just give it clone. This actually had to form a new thing with our date because in the code we had date and like we have build folder that creates the build folder here. Let's see. Hmm, Because it's no more running build image in Docker like we are getting this. It's actually running npm run build. So you could see because it's actually from the day one we are actually giving npm run build. Once it's formed, we will have the build folder and that build folder itself we are copying it inside our S3 bucket. Hmm, okay, so it uploaded the build folder, it even committed. Now let's see, this is the build folder. As you could see, 16th March 2025 is the date, and now we have a build folder. This build folder has all the files like index.html, which is mainly used to run our application. So during this disaster recovery, like we could use this file, but as I said, like I had just used an S3 bucket, which is inside AWS. But most cases they'll be using Nexus and Nexus or JFrog, or some even like AWS S3 bucket as well in some cases. It depends if they have multi-cloud. So only these files were added new, and the rest part goes as explanation for the previous session itself. The same thing, it'll go for a new image with git tag and everything like it updates. There are like two S3 buckets now. One S3 bucket to save our build artifacts and another S3 bucket to save our git commit tags, just like we are using it as a medium to update Helm values. So till here everyone is clear, right? How these things are formed and everything, like why this is needed. Yes. Actually, yep, I'm thinking to conclude the session, like if everyone understood. Yes. Yes, that's it. I'm going to stop recording.